Starting us off at number 10, we have Edmund Kemper. Our journey begins with the co-ed killer. Standing a terrifying 6'9", this giant of crime was responsible for the brutal deaths of 10 people, including his own mother. His story serves as a disturbing reminder of the domestic horror that can breed a monster. This colossal creature, towering at a terrifying 6'9", looms large in the annals of crime, a chilling testament to the monstrosity that can be born from an abusive and traumatic childhood. Born to a troubled family and suffering at the hands of a cruel mother, Kemper's early life was a cesspool of torment. His first victims at the tender age of 15 were his paternal grandparents, a ghastly testament to the terrifying rage festering within him. After a stint in a mental institution, Kemper re-entered society, only to unleash a wave of murders, culminating in the brutal killing and defilement of his own mother, the source of his long-standing ire. His targets were young female hitchhikers, whom he would pick up, murder, and later dismember in a macabre ritual, a dreadful echo of his childhood spent dissecting his beloved pet cats. Welcome, boys and ghouls. Gather round for a bone-chilling tale from your G. We're about to embark on a spine-tingling tour through the annals of crime, illuminating the 10 most dangerous criminals of all time. These dark souls have left a scar on the face of humanity, their wicked deeds forever echoing in the chamber of infamy. Are you ready to face your fears? Coming in at number 9, the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez, plunged Los Angeles into a reign of terror in the 1980s. His myriad of heinous crimes, spanning murder, rape and burglary, serves as a chilling testament to the monstrous capacity of man. Richard Ramirez, a spectre in the shadows, unleashed a reign of terror on Los Angeles residents from 1984 to 1985 that continues to haunt the city's collective memory. An avowed Satanist, Ramirez's crime spree was not only extensive but also horrifyingly random. His victims varied in age, gender and location, thereby amplifying the public's fear, as no one seemed safe from his predatory pursuits. His wicked ways included murder, rape and burglary, each crime conducted with a sadistic brutality that shocked even the most hardened investigators. Ramirez would often break into homes in the dead of night, leading to his nickname, the Night Stalker. His modus operandi was as unpredictable as his choice of victims, keeping the entire city on edge. Number 8 on our terrifying tour is Aileen Wuornos, a rare femme fatale among these fiends. Wuornos murdered 7 men in Florida, claiming self-defense. Her tale is one of violence begetting violence in a cycle most gruesome. In the grim gallery of criminals, Wuornos is a chilling anomaly. A prostitute by trade, Wuornos's life was marred by hardship, abuse and violence, a sorrowful saga that would find its bloody climax in the Florida highways. Over a period of 12 months from 1989 to 1990, she claimed the lives of 7 men, each found shot at point-blank range. Wuornos maintained the killings were acts of self-defense, desperate measures taken in response to attempted rape and violent attacks from her clientele. Yet the nature of the slayings suggested a different narrative, one not of survival, but of a woman pushed to her breaking point, lashing out with a wrath that was as deadly as it was tragic. Number 7 is the man who orchestrated horror, Charles Manson. He didn't just commit heinous crimes, he influenced others to do his evil bidding, proving that manipulative power can be just as deadly as a knife or a gun. In the late 1960s, Manson, an ex-convict, gathered a group of disenfranchised and impressionable young people, mostly women, who would later be known as the Manson family. Using a toxic cocktail of charisma, manipulation and hallucinogenic drugs, Manson indoctrinated his followers into his twisted worldview, marked by a race war prophecy he called Helter Skelter, after the Beatles song. Under his orders, his obedient followers committed a series of murders, the most notorious being the Tate LaBianca killings, leaving 7 people, including actress Sharon Tate, dead in a single night. These acts of terror, carried out in the summer of 1969, shook the nation, signalling the end of the era of peace and love. Lurking at number 6 is John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown. Responsible for the deaths of at least 33 young men and boys, his story illustrates the terrifying reality that sometimes monsters wear friendly faces. From 1972 to 1978, Gacy lured, tortured and murdered at least 33 young men and boys. His victims were often trapped under the guise of odd jobs or the promise of a magic trick. only to find themselves in the murderous grasp of a monster. The bodies were later found buried beneath his house, a gruesome graveyard that unveiled the scale of his heinous acts. At number 5, we encounter the chilling charm of Ted Bundy. He confessed to 30 murders, but the true number remains unknown. His story paints a haunting portrait of the deadly allure of a psychopath. What sets Bundy apart in the rogues gallery of crime is not just the scale of his atrocities, but his ability to blend in, to charm, and to manipulate. His trial became a media circus, with Bundy serving as his own attorney, a stage where he showcased his intelligence and charisma, further muddying the waters between the man and the monster. Number 4 in our countdown is Gary Ridgway, known as the Green River Killer. Ridgway admitted to snuffing out 49 lives, but authorities believe the actual count is much higher. His crimes remind us of the silent predators that can lurk in our midst. In 2003, Ridgway entered a plea agreement, admitting to the murders of 48 women, later confessing to one more. However, the true number of his victims is believed to be much higher, possibly reaching into the 90s. Despite the monstrous scale of his crimes, Ridgway managed to evade detection for nearly 2 decades, leading a quiet, unassuming life that masked his murderous secret. Number 3 is the monster of the Andes, Pedro Lopez, believed to have killed hundreds of young girls across Colombia, Ecuador and Peru. His relatively short prison sentence stands as a chilling testament to the failures of justice. Yet, what perhaps intensifies the horror of Lopez's tale is the shocking failure of justice that followed his capture. Convicted in Ecuador for the murder of 110 girls, Lopez served only 14 years of a 16-year sentence due to good behavior, a pitifully short stint for his heinous crimes. After a brief detention in Colombia, he was declared sane and released in 1998. His whereabouts since then remain unknown, a chilling uncertainty that lingers like a spectre. The runner-up in our grim gallery is Harold Shipman, a doctor turned angel of death. With over 200 victims to his name, his tale serves as a horrifying reminder that killers can hide behind a facade of care and professionalism. Harold Shipman, a respected general practitioner in England, shattered the sacred trust between doctor and patient. He proved that not all angels bring salvation, some bear the kiss of death. Over a span of 3 decades, from the 1970s to the 1990s, Shipman poisoned over 200 of his patients, primarily elderly women, using lethal doses of diamorphine, a powerful drug. His method was insidious, his crime horrific, hidden behind the mask of care and professionalism. Shipman's actions were discovered in 1998, and he was subsequently convicted for 15 murders, although an official inquiry believes the number to be much higher. In 2004, he hanged himself in his prison cell, leaving behind a legacy of broken trust and death. Finally, our most dangerous criminal, Yogi Serban. This Romanian murderer and serial rapist known as the Vampire of Bucharest committed a series of heinous acts that paralyzed a nation in fear. His acts were not just heinous, but also marked with a distinct brand of horror that earned him the moniker, the Vampire of Bucharest. Serban would often attack his victims during the night, committing acts of sexual violence before brutally murdering them, a chilling modus operandi that echoed the horrifying myth of the vampire. Serban's reign of terror only ended with his capture and subsequent sentencing. However, the scars he left on his victims and the nation remain indelible, a chilling testament to the horrifying capacity of human evil. And there you have it, my ghoulish friends, the 10 most dangerous criminals of all time. These tales of terror remind us of the depths humanity can sink to and the importance of vigilance and justice in our societies. As we part ways, remember, not all monsters lurk under the bed. Some walk amongst us. Till we meet again, may your dreams be nightmares.